Welcome back to the Full Force Fathers podcast, episode 45. I cannot believe it. This is just flying through it. For some reason, 45 feels, Dave, like it's a bigger number. Like, holy cow, we're at episode 45. Does it feel any different to you with it being episode 45?
A little bit. It's weird. It does feel a little strange that we're at 45. It's hard to believe. I mean, we're into the new year. I think at this point we're past when we initially started talking about doing this podcast and creating Full Force Fathers last year. So that to me is a little surreal.
Yeah, it's amazing. I'm super pumped, man. We're just cruising along. Listen, we are only 7 weeks away from hitting a full year, which is even crazier. So we have a great show in store for you today. Lots of things to talk about today. One main topic that we're going to jump into today. We have a great book recommendation. I think today's show is just going to be terrific. And I think it starts off today, obviously, as we start off with episode 45. Dave, I am going to let you go with the first number 45 because you were so excited when we said what 45s we got out there. There's three number 45s that really stick out to me, but I want you to start with number one, and then I want to jump into the next two.
Okay. Well, number one's got to be Donald J. Trump. How could it be anybody but Donald J. Trump? And I know that's gonna stir things up for a few of our listeners, and that's okay. That's the point. But number 45, I mean, he did. There's a lot of crazy things that happened during his presidency, but he did a lot of great things as well that seem to be forgotten about by a lot of people just because they hate him. And I get it. Listen, he says some weird things. He tweets some mean things, but you have to say our country was in a better place than it had been in a long time and than it is now. So number 45 for me, Donald J.
Oh, so much better. So we were in such a better place than we are right now. And just only listen, groceries and gas. That's all you got to say. End of story. You want to tell me you were in a better time beforehand or now than we were? There's literally no argument even there. And if you have an argument, just go home. And I don't think you're really going to piss off a lot of listeners, Dave, because I really do feel like we have a tribe of just rock solid, full force dads and moms out there that listen that just get it. They get it. Because listen, if you like sound money principles and you like freedom and you like all these things in your health and your wellness, then listen, listen, I don't look at the president for moral value. Everyone does stupid shit in their life. But if you want to talk about just as an overall leader, dude, I don't care what anybody says. He's better than what was before him. He's better than what we got now. So take it or leave it. That's the way that I look at it. And if we piss you off, oh well, life goes on. But the other two 45s that I wanted to talk about, the other big number 45, no one thinks of it besides basketball fans or just true sports fans. But don't ever forget, Jordan, when he came back, he wore 45. So that's a big deal. He came back, he wore it in that playoff run when they lost to the Magic. When he came back, he wore 45 in baseball, with the White Sox organization. But the other 45 that's near and dear to your heart, Mr. Pedro Martinez. What do you got to say about Pedro?
There's nobody better. I mean, to me, he is the best sports 45 of all time. I mean, Jordan's the best of all time, but number 23 is Jordan's real number. So let's not take that too far. But Pedro's the best, man. He helped bring a World Series championship to the Boston Red Sox after we hadn't had one in 86 years. And after getting lit up against the Yankees the year before, when we thought was our year, the Red Sox in 2003, Grady Little let him stay in the game a little too long. He got beat. He came back the next year with a vengeance. I mean, I've never seen anybody. He is so small, and the gas he could throw with the movement on those pitches, nobody wanted to face him. I'm getting goosebumps thinking about the days of watching Pedro pitch in the playoffs. Like it was unlike anything else, man. He's one of my favorite baseball players of all time, and so happy he wore the Red Sox uniform.
Well, outside of my father, I could argue. I don't know, or it's not an argument. I could confidently say he's outside of my dad. He is my favorite baseball pitcher of all time.
Mm-hmm.
And that says a lot because there's been some great pitchers out there. We loved Randy Johnson, Schilling. Pedro Martinez might be my favorite baseball pitcher of all time. Obviously take my dad out of the scenario. But 45 is a good list. Yeah, we started out with 3 big firecrackers right there. Obviously, the president, Jordan, and then Pedro. But Archie Griffin is on this list. Hall of Famer Bob Gibson is on this list. Just to piss you off, Italian soccer star Mario Balotelli is on this list. The great Rocket and head coach Rudy Tomjanovich on
that's
this
a
list.
good one.
And another one that's sneaky on the list. I actually read a little about it when I was doing research. Guy by the name of Kenny Easley, who was a defensive back. Okay, he whenever I said he was the best defensive back in football for the short time that he played. And now, if you play 7 years in the NFL, that's not a short time because I think the average NFL career is only 2 or 3 years. But a lot of the articles that I read about Kenny Easley is he would have been a Hall of Famer if it wasn't for he had kidney disease. It ended his career after 7 seasons. But in 5 of those 7 seasons, he was a Pro Bowler in 5 of the 7 years, and he had 32 interceptions in those years. So Kenny Easley was like a sneaky. He was definitely on every list that I researched. And, I think it's Dave. I think it's interesting when you read about people you have no idea, you never even heard of them before. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's true. That's a good one. Yeah, doing some of the research on this list, you start reading about some people that, like you said, you hadn't heard of, and also starting to really dig into how great some of these people actually were. You've heard their names, but maybe they played before we were, watching and things like that. So you get to go back and really appreciate their greatness. There's one other on the list that you put in there, and it kind of was a blast from the past. Bo Outlaw. I remember him from the days of his time on the Orlando Magic. I was a big Orlando Magic fan back in the day, and he was on a bunch of different teams, but I always liked watching him out. He put on like the big safety glasses and he'd get out there. He was a banger. He'd just mess around and go get rebounds, and I loved watching Bo Outlaw play, so that was a good one for you to throw in there. Thanks for that.
Yeah, no, that's awesome. And we didn't see, I didn't find a ton of great all-time football players in there. Speaking of football, NFL playoffs are in full swing. As you can see on YouTube, if you're watching, I'm repping my Niners. I got my Niners hat on. They rolled Seattle, even though we had a couple scary moments in that first half. They absolutely lit it up. Purdy's just been playing well, so we'll see what happens. Continue moving forward. We know we got one more home game, and listen, it's just I'm rooting. I'm excited for the playoffs this year. And last year we squeaked in, and we were not the favorite. It's different this year being the favorite, but also knowing we're on our 3rd quarterback. Happy. Also, one more thing before we get into it, because the Bible verse today, I always read the Bible verse. Dave's going to read it today because Dave is been putting more and more input in there for the Bible verses as of recently, which I love. But happy belated birthday to me, Dave. I turned 37 yesterday.
You're getting old.
Let me tell you, I feel like I did when listen, I'm getting old. I'm balding. We don't need to talk about all the things that come with old age. But I am so excited. I think 37 is going to be better than 36 was.
37 is going to be your best year. And what a birthday present, getting the 49ers to get a win on Wild Card Weekend for you. So that's good. Yeah, man, happy belated birthday. I wish I was there to celebrate with you. But I'm sure the girls did something great for you. I mean, you're on 75 hard, so you can't have any desserts or anything like that. What was that like? That'd be tough because Aunt Dean, I mean, she loves to bake.
It's not that hard. It was hard the first year, but the fact that this is now my 3rd year in a row on 75 hard on my birthday, it was what it usually is. Aunt Dean makes me peanut butter balls. For that is my what I do for instead of cake. So Aunt Dean makes this amazing mixture. It's peanut butter, coconut, oats, and honey, and she mixes it all together in a bowl, and then she just makes them like into little bite-sized, like little protein balls. So that is, and the girls, every year for the 3rd year in a row, we stick a candle in one of them, and they sing happy birthday, and I blow it out. So
That's
nothing
awesome.
exciting with a cake, but those peanut butter balls that she makes they taste as good as a dessert tastes,
Yeah, that's awesome. I remember back in when I was at ESPN, they used to make these peanut butter protein ball things that they'd have down at the cafeteria. And it was like, I don't know, 3 for $2 or something. It wasn't bad, and they were so good. And one day they had a class where you could come and learn how to make them. So I went and I made them, and that was one of the times I was doing Weight Watchers. And I remember putting the points into the thing, and I was like, "Whoa, those are a lot of points for those 3 peanut butter protein balls." Can't be having those anymore.
Well, I could survive on peanut butter, as you know. I am a peanut butter like
Yeah.
like I'm addicted to peanut butter. I could survive on it, and I go through stages where I eat more and then I eat less, and then I always try to take into account, like, 1 or 2 days a week where I don't have it purposely, because peanut butter is like crack. I could just give me a spoon and give me the jar of peanut butter, and I could be just fine. I can eat it for breakfast. I could eat peanut butter and jelly sandwiches, you name it. Peanut butter is like one of my go-to fixes,
I've gotten into the habit at night because I can't, having dessert, so I normally would have a piece of dessert at the end of the day, but now on 75 hard can't do that. So what I've been doing is grabbing just a little teaspoon of peanut butter, and I just kind of have like a little bit of it on the spoon, just one little lick at the time, and that's kind of my dessert for the night. It's kind of weird, but it satisfies that urge, which is great.
And you get a little quick 150 to 200 calories in you. You get a little bit of protein, a little bit of fat. I mean, it's depending on what kind of peanut butter you're eating. Carp, you're listening, and I know you'll yell at me because I like good old fashioned peanut butter. And if you eat the all natural stuff and the more expensive stuff, it's better for you. But peanut butter is like, it's just one of those things for me. But so Dave, why don't you jump into the Bible verse? I know, like I said, you've been doing it. You wanted to add a couple tidbits into the Bible verse. So I'm gonna let you jump in with the Bible verse, and then we'll roll from there.
Yeah, and this is different for me doing the Bible verse. So I'm excited to get one out here. And it comes from Romans chapter 12, verse 2. Do not conform to the pattern of this world, but be transformed by the renewing of your mind. And I think that is such an incredible verse, especially for what our topic is going to be today. But really, I mean, what that means to me is that instead of following the norm, instead of following everybody else, continue to grow yourself, continue to get better, and continue to build the muscle, your brain, and soak in as much as you can, because what everyone is doing is usually not the best thing that you could be doing. You look at people, I always go back to the money thing, right? You look at most of the people are in debt, don't have any savings whatsoever. Don't conform to the pattern of this world. Do something different. Read something, listen to something that will change your ways of doing things and put you in a better position financially. The same with physical fitness. Don't be like everybody else and go to fast food and do all those things, eating out all the time. Learn about the food that you're eating. You're going to probably want to eat home at that point. Do things differently. Continue to develop your mind. We say read 10 pages a day, right? It's in 75 hard. That's what we do. Continue to just build your mind and do those things to make yourself better and not just fall into the pattern of everybody else.
So what you're saying is this Bible verse in layman's terms is don't be like everyone else. Don't be fat. Don't be lazy. Don't be broke. Be different. Do your own thing. And I love it. I love that Bible verse, and it does tie into today's topic. And something else I did this week is I read a quote. I don't know where it came from. I received it in an email from one of my higher ups at work, and they like to put quotes and things every morning. And this quote, and I said, it's just the perfect kickoff to the topic that we want to talk about today. And the quote says, winners don't care what the environment is. They just win. Okay. And that ties in exactly what today's topic is. And the topic of the day is laziness. So don't be broke. Don't be fat. Don't be lazy, right? Don't conform to what is normal. Normal is broke. Normal is fat. Normal is lazy. Normal is video games. Normal is pornography. Normal is bullshit. Don't be that. Be transformed, renew your mind. And that all ties into being lazy. And to tie it into the quote, right? Winners don't care what the environment is. They just win. You know who doesn't win in this world? Lazy people. Lazy people don't win, Dave. And there are very, very few things that piss me off more than lazy people. I cannot stand it, Dave. It drives me crazy. I get irritated. And you can tell, Dave, who a lazy person is right off the bat. Instantaneously, you can tell if a person is lazy or not, because guess what? They carry the same characteristics. All of them carry the same characteristics, Dave. Okay? Here's 5 quick things that you can tell and that you can define a lazy person by. And this is the number one of all the things, Dave. They don't put their shopping cart back. Is that not the number one example of a lazy person? I don't want to put the shopping cart back.
I mean, that is a good one. I will say there are times when you got to give somebody the benefit of the doubt. So it is the majority of lazy people, but there are times that I have not put the cart back, and I'm not ashamed to admit that. Back when the kids were really little, if I had a little one in the car, I wasn't bringing the shopping cart back all the time. Okay. There's times when you're in a rush, you just got to get somewhere immediately. Maybe the shopping cart thing is way on the other side of the planet. Okay. So there are a couple instances where I'm going to side with the people that don't always put the cart back. But on a regular, you should be putting the shopping cart back. Yes, I will agree with that.
Okay, I'll combat that right now. Both of those, I'm going to combat right now. Number one, I do it every day.
You can't get in the truck. First one. The girls aren't infants, though.
Yes, you
anymore.
can. You absolutely can, because I do it every single day. When I leave Walmart, my kids get in the car, and then I lock the doors and I walk the cart back to the cart thing every time. I'm not saying you got to walk it back to the store, but you can walk it the 50 feet back to the cart corral. I lock the doors when the girls get in the truck, and I hit the lock button. And then I move the cart, because guess what? If the doors are locked, they're safe for the 50 feet that I got to move the cart. And the second thing is, guess what? Run the cart across the fucking parking lot if you're in a hurry, or get there 5 minutes earlier. Both of those have just been combated. I don't want to fucking hear it.
No, well, your girls aren't infant age, so I don't think your battle there works. I don't think that actually stands up.
No.
The second one, yeah, you could run. Yeah, you could run. But if you're dressed for a meeting or something, you don't want to get sweaty in the Tucson sun. That could be a problem. So that's my battle back. But anyway, on to number 2, because the rest of them I completely agree with.
So let's just go through a couple of the characteristics of a lazy person. You're grabbing to-go food because you're too lazy to cook. That is a characteristic of a lazy person. You don't feel like cooking, so you pick something up on the way home. You sit another one. You sit on the couch and you stare at your screen, whether it's the TV or your phone or your iPad, instead of going outside or going to the gym or being a dad and playing a game with your kids. You tell them, if you're staring at the screen, here you go, kids, you stare at your screen. All right. You quit early in the office on Friday. Every Friday you quit early. All right. When you could just finish the tasks that need to be finished, but instead you just push them off, and I'll just do them on Monday. Mm-hmm. Okay. That is an absolute characteristic of a lazy person. And there's someone in your office that does that every Friday. They mosey around a little bit longer. They bullshit a little bit more. And then whatever else they do, you're just like, that's not going to get done. It's okay. We'll just wait till Monday. It is a true testament of your character. If you're lazy, because another thing I noticed, being lazy is habitual, right? It is something that you do. It's not just one aspect of your life. Right. No. If you're not a cart pusher backer, or you're a quit early on Friday, or you don't feel like cooking. All right. Those usually all go hand in hand. You don't just do lazy things in one part of your life and then you're on the ball with everything else. I think you'd agree with that, right?
Yeah, I would agree with that 100%. And I think if you are following along in this journey on 75 Hard this time, like, you realize how much time you have in your day to do things and be productive and not be lazy. Versus if you're not doing anything and you're just rolling into the new year, living your same old life, it could seem like you're busy but you're really actually not. So that for me is the big one. You realize how much time you actually have in your day if you just do one day of 75 Hard, you realize how much time you waste in your day when you're not on it.
Yeah, no, 100%. And to close out on the habitual part, there's an old saying, how you do one thing is how you do everything. And that is so true. It is so true with everything. So if you're always on the ball and you're always trying to get better, then everything you do works together to be better, or works together to be successful. If you're lazy, everything you do is lazy.
Yeah, and it's very easy. I mean, if you're lazy and you say, you know what, I don't work out, that's not what I do, it's a lot easier at that point to stop and grab fast food. Okay. It's just what you're probably normally going to do. Or you're going to stop and you're going to pre-made meal at the grocery store or something for your family. Then you're just going to come home. You're going to sit down on the couch. You're going to watch TV. You're not going to play with your kids. You're not going to do those types of things. It's very easy to do that versus if you do set a habit and you say, I'm going to work out. Well, if you work out, then you're like, well, you know what? I'm going to eat better because I'm working out. I'm going to cook. So then you cook. And then you see your kids come home and you're like, you know what? I got time left in my day. Let's go out and play. Let's do something fun together. So it is absolutely habitual, and it can get ugly.
Yeah. And there's, and I'll like a question, like, how do you combat laziness, right? And I think a great answer, like you brought this up to me multiple times in the last couple of weeks, and that is, it's the importance. I think one of the number one way to fight laziness is to come up with a plan, right? Come up with a game plan for your days, for your time. Create a routine. You've heard us talk about routines on the show before. It can be a daily routine. It can be just a morning routine, whatever it is. But I truly believe everything starts with when you wake up in the morning. So I think you have to have a routine from the second that you wake up from your morning routine. And I know like I said, I've talked about it before, and I know we're 2 weeks into 75 hard, and you've stressed it multiple times to me about routine. I think that's the first way that you can combat laziness. Get into routine and stick to that routine. Okay, like how can, I'm going to ask this question to you? How can a routine fight laziness?
Because it gives you things to do that you can count on every single day that will eliminate the ability to do something different that'll take you off course. I think that's what's most noticeable to me. When you do the same things every day and you can count on doing those, your mind stays really focused and you can stay disciplined on those things that are important. And you don't let your mind slip and do the things that aren't important. If you say, you know what, I get up every day at this time. And it could be as simple as that, waking up every day at a certain time. That's combating laziness because now you're not sleeping in. You're not wasting that time. Last weekend, I was exhausted. This was the first full week on 75 hard. I was tired. I ended up sleeping in a little bit. Ended up blowing most of the day because I slept later than I normally would. Then I had to get my workout in and do all those things. And it just spiraled. And I ended up not accomplishing the things that I had set out to do during the course of the weekend. But this past weekend now, it's focus, it's discipline. I know I've got to have my routine. I've got to carry my routine, not just through the normal work week, but I got to carry it through the weekend too, because I'm more productive when I do that. And it will fight those lazy tendencies that, someone might have.
Yeah, no, it's absolutely. You mentioned the word mental in there, and I think what I was thinking about when I was thinking this answer is, I think routines teach you mental stability, right? And if you attach a daily task list to that you must follow every day, it just doesn't allow laziness. When you have a routine, it's as simple as that. If you follow a routine, like you said, get up at the same time, or just set an alarm and get up in the morning, right? You already have started your day combating what could be a day of laziness if you just roll out of bed whenever you feel like you roll out of bed, right? So having that routine to start your day, having a daily task list to keep you on track and focused, it just doesn't allow any laziness into the picture. It doesn't even allow laziness into the equation. And the other thing I want to talk about laziness too, especially one of the easiest ways to combat laziness, and if you're a father, this pertains to dads. If you have kids, man, if you allow your kids to be kids, you're not going to be lazy, because guess what kids don't naturally want to do? They don't want to sit around and do bullshit. Mm-hmm. But that starts with you. If you live a lazy life, your kids will live a lazy life. If you stare at your screen constantly, your kid's going to stare at their screen constantly. But if you allow the kids to be kids, truly a kid at heart, then they don't want to be lazy. And the other thing is in the game of life where there's a winner and a loser, if you're lazy and your kids are lazy, they're going to fall hard, because winners win, right? Doesn't matter the environment. Winners win. If your kid is lazy at playing sports, tryouts, practices, guess what? They're not going to make any teams. They're not going to ever be great at sports or whatever it is that they put their hand. Maybe it's an instrument. I'm not a music guy. Maybe your kid wants to play an instrument, but if they're lazy, if they learn your lazy habits, they're going to not be good enough at that instrument to make the band or be in the band or have the solo or whatever the case may be. So this is a big stressor of mine, is if you're lazy, it's going to prove to your kids that being lazy is okay. And it is not. It is not okay. Yeah. Listen, if you want to be like the government, then be lazy, because that's exactly what they want. They want you fat, lazy, and dependent, and then they want you to pass that down to your kids. But as a parent, it is your duty to not make, to give your kids a better life than you have, right? Isn't that always the next thing? I want to have it better than my dad. I want to give it to my kids better than my dad gave it to me, and so on and so forth. But being lazy, that's never going to happen. That's never going to happen.
And we talk about it all the time, how your kids see everything that you do and they mimic it, and they think that that's the normal. So if you're being lazy, your kids are going to see that, and that's what they're inherently going to do. This weekend was a great example. I had some stuff I needed to do on Saturday, and Bryce was around. Kendall was at a friend's house. She was doing her thing. And I told Bryce, I got some projects to do around the house. Do you want to help? Yeah, Dad, absolutely. You know how Bryce is. He's always wants to be the helper. And, we finished doing one project. We ended up going outside, took the chainsaw out. He was so excited. He wanted to see us cut down a tree. That little dude stayed outside with me all day long. We cut down 2 trees together. We cut up all the branches. We brought them to the end of the driveway by the road so that the guys could come by and pick them up this week. And he stayed out there all day. The only time he went in was to grab some water and grab a snack. He never once asked if he could go inside and watch TV. He never once asked if he could go inside and play a video game. Nothing. He didn't even ask if he could go inside and just sit and play with his toys. He wanted to be outside doing stuff. And those are the types of moments where you can build that habit of not being lazy, of doing things that are important, of teaching your kids the right way to do things so that they're not lazy. So it is, there's proof in the pudding there. And what you do, your kids will mimic.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And I want to read a poem here, and this ties into our laziness, to our routine aspect. And I found this poem, and it's by Paul Bear Bryant. So if you know who Paul Bear Bryant is, then you're a sports fan. If you don't, he's the legendary Alabama football coach. And
the legendary Alabama football coach before Nick Saban's legendary football coach. So he's back in the day, but he is an all-time.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah. And this poem that I'm about to read, he kept this poem in his pocket, and he read it every day to his team. He just always had this poem in his pocket. And I've heard this before. In multiple aspects, in different career leaders that I've met and bosses and stuff. They always put a saying, a mantra, something of that in their pocket, and they carry it around with them everywhere they go. And they read it every day, and it helps, So this coming from Paul Bear Bryant means a lot. And he had this poem every day. He read to his team and says, "This is the beginning of a new day. God has given me this day to use as I will. I can waste it or use it for good. What I do today is very important because I am exchanging a day of my life for it. When tomorrow comes, this day will be gone forever, leaving something in its place I have traded for it. I want it to be a gain, not loss, good, not evil, success, not failure, in order that I shall not forget the price that I paid for it." And I just think that poem just hits so hard, and that's why I put it in here. I mean, this poem teaches us, Dave, just the very basic principles of taking advantage of every freaking day of our life. Each day is a gift, right? Every morning you wake up, it's a gift.
Yeah, the one line in that poem that really stands out to me is, "What I do today is very important because I'm exchanging a day of my life for it." I mean, how powerful is that line of this poem, right? I mean, You think about it. You've only got so many days on this earth. We don't know how many we have. It could be over tomorrow. It could be over in 60 years from now. We don't know. But what you do today is going to make a difference, and it's one of your days. Do you want it to be filled with laziness and doing nothing and just making no contribution to this world whatsoever? Whether it be a small contribution or a big contribution. You don't have to be the president of the United States or the president of a charity or foundation. You can make small contributions in your own way by just teaching your kids how to live the right way. Something as simple as that, or just being a good person. And I think that line right there to me was the most important, because if I don't want to look back on my life and think of all the days that I wasted doing nothing.
Yeah, that line is extremely home hitting. The other one I think about too that hits me is, it says, "God has given me this day to use as I will. I can waste it or use it for good." Just like you just said the word waste. How many days did I waste, right? Mm-hmm. It is your choice. Every day you have a choice to make when you get out of bed. You can either waste that day or use it for good every day. And it's just so important, because the society that we live in, it celebrates laziness, and none of us will ever reach our full potential if we allow laziness to creep in 3 days a week, 4 days a week, every day of the week, sometimes even 1 day a week. Everyone wants to be afforded one day of laziness or an hour of laziness, and that's one thing. But to live a life of laziness, you will never, ever reach your full potential. And there's nothing else to say about it. Like if you really want what you want, there's no room in your schedule. There's no room in your life to be lazy. And that's why I get so passionate when I see lazy people, because I see it every day, whether it's at work or out in public. There's just so many lazy people out there that they don't even know like how important it was that they woke up that day. You know what I mean? They don't even know how important it was to put their feet on the ground that day. And the opportunity, dude, every day is an opportunity. You can change your whole life in 1 second by making a decision. And when you're lazy, that's why it irks me and it drives me so crazy when I see so many lazy people out there, dude.
Yep. Well said.
So I want you, since you brought up the topic of daily routine, and I don't want to go into too much detail because I'm a psychopath. Why don't you hit me with your morning routine? Why don't you hit me with your daily routine? Obviously your weekends are a little different, Monday through Friday work, blah, blah. But like, what is your daily routine in a nutshell? To give somebody an example, I'll give them, then I can give everybody my example. And just like, what is your, like, give me the overview of what your daily routine looks like.
Yeah. So first off, your routines can change over time. They're not set in stone. Depending on where your life is, the different things you have going on, it will change. My new life in Tennessee, it took me a couple of weeks to figure it out. Now that it is, we're in January, I was able to establish a routine and I'm happy with it. And my body is responding to that as well. So this is what it is. Every day, the alarm always goes off 4:30. 4:30 is the wake up time. Why, you ask? Because I've got things to do before I get to work. So 4:30, the alarm goes off every single day. Brush teeth. Drink 8 ounces of water. I took that from the book Limitless by Jim Quick. Your mind, your brain needs water to function correctly. So I don't want to drink too much, but I get 8 ounces down before I go out for my next thing, which is my 45-minute workout. And I get 45 minutes in outside before anyone is up. Come back home, I knock out my daily standard, which we talked about in the last episode. About what that is and what that means. Again, getting that done before anybody's awake because I don't want to take time away later in my day for my family. Then it's shower, make some breakfast, and either eat it or take it and go to work. I'm usually between drive time and work time. It's 9.5, 10 hours that I'm away from home. Come home. Every night we do dinner, make dinner at home. And then it's second 45-minute workout. Then it's come home, spend some more time with the kids. And then it's bed by 9 o'clock. That's it, man. That's 24 hours in the life of Dave every day. And you know what?
Yeah,
I'm better for it. I'm better for it.
Yeah, no, it's a good solid routine. And I know it took you a while to kind of get into that routine, and 75 Hard really kickstarted you getting you back into that routine, which is awesome to hear. A day in the life of me. Where to begin? Okay. So I always was a 4:30 guy. Just like you, 4:30, always up. But I've been trying something different lately. Like you said, routines change. So if you listen to me talk about routines a year ago, it was 4:30, no questions asked, I'm up. But I've been listening to Andrew Huberman. If anyone listens to him, he's a great doctor who works at Stanford, also has a great podcast. And he's big into the superhuman stuff, which obviously, as you know, is a nutcase. I love listening. So, and I also listen to, thanks to Carp, a podcast on EMFs. So I've been trying to sleep with my phone not in my room anymore. So I've been trying to put my phone out of my bedroom when I sleep at night to sleep better. I haven't been doing it long enough to have any real results or have any real feedback on it. So what I've been doing now is I've been letting my biological clock wake me up when it's time to wake up, because Huberman tells you 6 to 8 hours of sleep, you need it. Cam Haynes will tell you need 4, whatever it is. It doesn't really matter, whatever, to each your own. But I've been just trying this as part of my new routine. So I've been getting up around, I've been getting roughly 6 to 7 hours of sleep every night. And then when I get up, then I hop right into my routine. Wash my face, brush my teeth, hit the kitchen, water, apple cider vinegar, fresh lemon, teaspoon of honey, and then I go outside. Because another thing that Huberman's talked about is direct sunlight in your eyeballs in the morning and how it like charges you up for the day. So every morning now when the sun comes up, I go outside, and if it's been brisk and cold here in Southern Virginia, been getting that cold air, fresh air on my body, and I've been looking directly into the sunlight for 1 to 3 minutes. Once again, it's pretty new to me, so I haven't can't tell you, because I'm so ADHD and high strung as it is, I can't tell you for sure what I feel in terms of difference. I just know that it's good for you. All right. I come back inside after I play with the dog for a few minutes. It's black coffee. I read my Bible, and it's my current book. So if I'm at 75 hard, it's 10 pages, or whatever book I'm reading, whatever the flavor of the week is, month, whatever my current book is. Okay. Kids wake up, they get going. Then I head out. I get my 5-mile run done and 250 crunches done every morning. And then I come inside, shower if I need to, if I got to go somewhere. If not, it's just get out of my sweaty clothes, change, and I go to work. Now, go to work for me means I get in front of my computer, because obviously I work from home, but it's phones, it's computer, it's getting it done. This morning routine, as you mentioned it before, it allows me to get more done in the first couple hours of my day than most people get done in the full day, if not a couple days. To kind of wrap up what my day looks like, I'm in front of my computer, in and off the phone. I get back outside usually around 3 o'clock for my second workout of the day. And Dean likes to make dinner around 5, finish up my work day, because I always have work going on 6:30, 7, 8 o'clock at night, between emails and phone calls. And then my day wraps up as soon as the kids get tucked in. That's kind of where my day is. So that kind of gives you a snapshot of what it is. In terms of, to add a little diet stuff in there, I fast every day. So I try to fast a minimum of 18 hours a day. So if that means I eat at 6 o'clock at night, I don't eat until noon the next day. That gives me a full 18 hours of fast. I always work out in the middle of a fast because it burns much better. It's much healthier for you. And I get that done. So that kind of gives you a day in the life of my routine. I don't, everyone kind of, but like the whole point of it is to find what works for you. Like you said, everyone's routine is going to be different. Try to find a routine that fits your life, your schedule, but when I mean find it, you got to give yourself a little bit of pressure. You got to put a little pressure on yourself to actually make changes. You can't just say, "Oh, I'll let my routine just kind of flow naturally." No, you have to do some concrete things to actually make yourself a routine.
Agreed. Well, I think we're at that time for a book recommendation, my friend.
Okay, book recommendation today. This one came to me for Christmas from the girls. Know Yourself, Know Your Money. Dave, you know this person personally. I'm pretty sure you work for this person.
I do. Yes.
It is Rachel Cruz. It is Dave Ramsey's daughter. Dave, not Ramsey, Dave Fortin told me a couple years ago to get her first book, which I actually never did get read. This one came out. This is what the girls got me as a Christmas present. It is fantastic. Know Yourself, Know Your Money, dude. Learn your habits. Learn what your past was about. Are you a natural saver? Are you a natural spender? Are you a natural enabler? Or are you very strict? How much grace do you have in your life for your money mistakes? How much of your life, your money issues or money, what's the opposite of an issue? It's not an issue. It's a good thing. Good habits. Are they from the way you were raised with money or not? And it's just a really good book. First of all, she's super smart. She's obviously Dave Ramsey's daughter. She was born and raised in this environment. I just think it's a fantastic read. It's kind of like a bit mental psychology for yourself to understand your habits, good or bad, and how to kind of change some of those. She has another book that she mentions in this, the one that you told me to read, but are you buying things to feel included? Are you buying things because you care what other people think, or are you buying things because you truly need them? She gives you some challenge in there. She asks you, when you're about to make a purchase, ask yourself these 5 questions first. And if they're not all yeses or all nos, then are you doing it for the right reasons? And I think, it's a really good book. It says, discover why you handle money the way that you do and what you can do about it. Dave, what do you guys say? I know you've read it. I know you know this is your wheelhouse.
It is. It's such a fantastic book, and it's just a different take on your money and the way you see things. She puts it in a way that a lot of young people, millennials, will understand and I think grasp more. She's a great writer. It's a great book, and it's true. It's knowing yourself, knowing your habits, and that's how you end up changing those things. And it's a book everybody should read. It's a fun read. It's an easy read, and you should definitely add it to your list. And I just love that you're reading so many financial books now. It makes me so happy. And the fact that the girls got that for you for Christmas makes me even happier. And they didn't ask which book. That never, last year I remember Ian Dean asked, "Hey, what book should I get Brett?" This year they didn't. They just went right to the Ramsey library and got you one. And I think that's awesome. So kudos to the girls.
Yeah, no, dude, that library is in depth and deep, dude. You could read a number of books for an entire year just by going through that library.
Yeah, it's phenomenal. And I will say, dude, I was at work the other day and somebody asked me what my favorite book was in the last 12 months. And can you guess which one I said?
You picked Endure, and it wasn't even close.
I did pick Endure. And somebody was like, "I'm going to have to go get that book right now." And I was like, there you go. So Cam Haines got another potential follower and book reader. So there I am, still living the Cam Haines life. Love it.
Hey, listen, Cam, you have an open invite. Anytime you ever want to be on the show, you are more than welcome. You could be on the show. I would even give up my seat if you wanted it. You could be a third host. If I got to kick Dave out of the way for an episode or two, Cam, it's an open invite for you to be on the show whenever you feel like it.
Yeah, that's for sure.
Sorry, Dave. I know we're close, but I mean, this is Cam Haines we're talking about.
I know. It's your man crush. I get it.
So, anyways, well, that's episode 45, folks. Thanks for listening. Dave, take us home.
Yeah, everybody get out there, live the full force life. Fight the laziness. Fight the laziness. Do things a little different. Set a morning routine. Do not be normal. Treat your mind like a muscle. Build it. Find things that will make you better, and we will talk to you soon.